We have some big news right now. Alarm bells are going off within legal communities after J.D. Vance, the vice president, and Elon Musk are now suggesting that the executive branch could simply disregard a federal judge's ruling, essentially dismantling the separation of power in the United States. This is as serious of a video I could really make right now. J.D. Vance just now tweeted out, if a judge tried to tell a general how to conduct a military operation, that would be illegal. If a judge tried to command the attorney general on how to use her discretion, that would be illegal. Judges aren't allowed to control the executive's legitimate power. And Elon Musk, on his part, tweeted out, quote, "I'd like to propose that the worst 1% of appointed judges, as determined by elected bodies, be fired every year. This will weed out the most corrupt and least competent." There's a separation of powers in our nation. The judiciary, the executive, and the legislative are separate for a reason. And it's meant to prevent constitutional crisis. And legal experts online are now sounding off the alarm, saying that these tweets could set up the precipice of a constitutional crisis where the Trump administration disregards a lawful judicial order. I'll do a full breakdown on what this all means and give you my legal perspective on my Substack this evening, so subscribe there. And as always, follow along, stay updated on all the news.
Every Republican, every single one of you, every one of you that follows me, every one of you whose TikTok somehow gets this on your For You page, listen up. And why, Republicans? Because you guys are the ones who wrap yourselves in the flag and the Constitution. All of you. So let's chat. First, watch that video. If you are too stupid to watch that video or too stupid to understand it, what J.D. Vance is proposing, suggesting, thinking about, comprehending is breaking, ripping up, ripping apart the Constitution of the United States, because the Constitution of the United States at its base explains how and determines how and actually tells us how we separate the powers of the U.S. federal government. The Constitution. No law, no statute, no nothing. The Consta-fucking-stitution. That document that you love. So what J.D. Vance, the current Vice President of the United States, is suggesting is essentially using that document as toilet paper. I couldn't give a fuck about Musk. He doesn't know anything. But J.D. Vance, he knows things. He understands things. And he wants to take us down a road that not even Nixon thought about taking us down. Well, maybe he thought about it. So let's game this out. Let's game this scenario out. Let's say, for the sake of argument, that Trump takes Vance's advice and just disregards one or all of the stays that were issued by the lower courts. He does that. The attorneys who are the plaintiffs in all of those cases then force contempt. They do things. They create a situation. They file a motion for contempt. That motion will be granted. That motion will be appealed. That motion will be appealed all the way up to the Supreme Court. And then we have a question. If the Supreme Court stands by the most basic precepts of the Constitution, the precepts that even this Supreme Court has, by its own convoluted logic, upheld. If that happens, okay, and then if Trump listens to the Supreme Court, if no other courts, we've averted a constitutional crisis. Not a constitutional crisis, a complete crisis and a breakdown of our entire country. If he does not, if Trump says, nah, fuck it, I got the army, well, where are we then? Will the army follow him? Will the army follow what are absolutely illegal orders? Will anyone else follow absolutely illegal orders? Will he try to raise his own army? What's going to happen? Because that is the barrel of the gun that this country is staring down. And why? Why is it that I am telling Republicans to listen to this little diatribe? Because it's in their hands. It's in their hands and the hands of those elected officials that they elected to Congress. Because ultimately, articles of impeachment will be drafted. They will be put before Congress. Those articles of impeachment will be voted on in the lower chamber, in the House of Representatives. And then, if the articles of impeachment are passed, it goes to the upper house, the Senate, where you need a 2/3 majority, which means a good number of Republicans will need to impeach, to get rid of, to essentially convict this president. We have seen that is not really in the Republican Party's milieu. They don't have, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh yeah, bravery, spine, balls. They don't have it. Well, now it's time, Republicans. It's time for you to tell those people that you sent to Washington that they need to grow a pair of balls, because that is what we are staring down the barrel of. Are we there yet? No, not yet. Are we getting there? We'll see what Trump does in the next day, 2 days, week. And by the way, it's only been 19 days since he was inaugurated. Woohoo!